associated with. And I think we should acknowledge Mr. Kevin Hall, who I think is the person who initiated this meeting, and I understand he's not well, so if Kevin's watching, get well soon, Kevin. I hope you do get to see this video, because I think our program and our methodology of rehabilitating and preventing injuries is very powerful, and I think it has a lot to offer the Queensland Ambulance Service. So just reiterating, my profession is in the neurosurgical industry. My practice is predominantly a spinal surgery practice, and over the years I have really been at some point quite disillusioned with the extent of spinal injuries and back injuries, and I think over the last 5 years, which is how long we've been applying the principles of functional movement training to my patients, it's really growing very quickly, and the results that I'm seeing with functional movement training as the foundational element to prevent injuries in the first place, and also rehabilitate people who have unfortunately had injuries, is really quite profound. So I'll introduce the rest of our team, or they can introduce themselves. Laurie.
Thanks for having us today. So my name's Laurie. Within this organisation here, I guess I'm the lead program developer. My background is military intelligence. I spent 14 years in the Army. Did a lot of service overseas, 4 tours. And with that, once I got out of the Army, I then went back across to Iraq, and I worked for a defence organisation from a civilian capacity. And then I opened up an intelligence branch for the Australian ambassador over there, so I did some stuff over there. Now that 3 years that I spent in Iraq is when I started to learn about functional movements. And in my spare time, not that there was much of that, I ran an online gym and a gym at the embassy as well, where I taught them all this sort of functional movements type thing. We had people from Iran, Afghanistan and Iraq following, and they still kind of look at that website today, although it's closed down, it's still there for them to see previously, so that's kind of exciting as well. When I came back, I decided I wanted to open a gym. So I went off to America in 2012, and I spent 6 to 7 months travelling around. I did some OJT, I guess, at different gyms, worked out what I did and didn't like, how people moved, how they taught, all those sorts of things, and came back, and eventually 9 months later I opened a gym which is called Ultra CrossFit down in Brisbane. Then went away again, of course, came back, and then these guys, I met these awesome people, and they approached me, and Dave and Joe talked to me about their vision of functional movements and how I could potentially be involved in this, and that's where I am today. So today I'm the lead developer of the programming and the lead movement therapist, so training all the new movement therapists that come through. Have an eye for good movement, bad movement, and ways that we can fix it. I'm very passionate about it. I love helping people. I love seeing the transition from chronic pain patients and depression to, oh my God, I've got life again. It's just this new lease on life that they have. Their entire personality changes, their movement changes, just by giving people a few little key tools that they can take home and apply in their everyday life. So very, very good. I also believe that for you guys, the Queensland Ambulance Service, I believe we've got a lot to offer you guys as well, so hopefully we can impart some of that knowledge today, and then potentially have a bit more of a relationship as we go on in the next year or 2 or 20, which would be great as well. So that's me. Thank you.
And I'm Jo. So my professional background is I'm a registered nurse. Also have an exercise sports science degree. And we started the neurosurgery practice back in 2007, and functional movements we started a number of years ago when we just started getting, as Dave was saying, disillusioned by what we were seeing as a treatment paradigm with our patients, and just the long-term ineffectiveness of what we do basically around. Also with we have a lot of insurance cases that actually do come through our program as well. One thing that you'll hear from us a lot probably is passion. We are just so passionate about what we do, because we see the difference between how they walk in on the first day, any person that comes through our doors, to how they walk out on the last. And when anyone injures themselves, whether it's at work or anywhere, it's related with depression, financial issues. They may be fearful of coming back to their workplace because of the injury that they've sustained. They're fearful is to instill faith and confidence in themselves that they know how to move safely, they know how to protect themselves, and they know how to prevent injuries. So they have the confidence coming back into the workplace to move well and to also be a leader within their team of how things need to be done. So that's me.
Hi, I'm Luke. I'm one of the movement therapists for the Functional Movement Training Centre, and I also have my own company. I met Dave probably a year and a half ago, something like that, and we've just we've both got the same thoughts on movement and how it's a preventative measure. So it's really nice to be able to work with the clinical side of things and see that that's actually also an important part. So I'm just sort of a movement therapist. I'm very new to working with these guys. Well, not that new anymore, but and I think I'll be helping them out with their new stuff at St Andrews. So that's me.
Okay.
Just got a question. When you say you were disillusioned with some of the treatment that was going on,
yes.
What's been in your world when you've brought up, something you haven't been happy with in regards to the treatment? What's been the general feeling towards your...
Globally, it's very challenging to make people think differently. And you'll see when I give my talk, I'll elaborate on that a lot more. But it's very difficult to make change when the definitions of the problem are unclear. The problem has to be defined and crystallised in order for you to then implement a solution. And right now, globally, back pain is a huge, and back injuries and spinal injuries in the workforce is a huge problem economically and clinically. And the shortfall is that people aren't really understanding why. And until we get that message out there that what is actually causing and contributing to this problem, the solution is very, very muddy. And I believe that from our experience over the last 5 years, we really have defined clearly what the problem is. And after you've made that huge leap of faith, you can then start to put in place the solution. But when I talk to insurance companies, other physical therapists, other medical colleagues, I go to spinal surgery conferences, they have no concept of movement dysfunction. When I went to university and my 15 years of training to become a neurosurgeon, not one day, not 1 hour, not one lecture or tutorial was dedicated to movement dysfunction, when yet that is really underpinning the whole problem that we're faced with. And I think that question will be very clearly answered as we go through the talk. But awesome question. And on that note, if you do have burning questions and you think you're going to forget the relevance of it later, just stick your hand up. It's a nice small group, so we can afford to do that, and we've got 2 hours. Just before we start our first thing, I just thought it'd be really nice to know who we're talking to. Would you mind just in 15 seconds just say what your role is in the department?
I'm Alex Hughes. I'm currently acting manager of operations. So after the operations.
Okay.
Rob Cornthwaite, I'm looking after workforce planning.
Yep.
Paul Shaw, I'm the Assistant Commissioner at the moment for Sunshine Coast area.
Yep.
Pauline Smithy. I'm the acting NeuroHAB and Health and Safety Advisor from Metro North in Brisbane.
Fantastic. Yep. Okay, great.
I'm Karen Wilmot, and admin here in the office here, but I also have a little bit acting Kevin's role when he's away on holidays or sick or
And Kevin is
and I do help him as well from an admin.
He's a health and safety officer for the QAs. Okay. Yeah.
Jodie Mott from Gold Coast, safety advisor.
Right. Fantastic.
Joe Rees, Health and Safety Unit at the head office in Kettering.
Brilliant. So one more.
Oh yeah, Helen Lloyd-Jones. I'm the acting manager of clinical education.
Wonderful.
And as you can see from the walls, we've actually just rolled out our manual tasks.
Yes, fantastic. That's great. So we have highly relevant and important audience to speak to. So I'll let Loz take over with the first component of our
So now that we have your attention, and lovely to meet you all. So as Dave has just said, you don't often know how you won't move, and I think we were discussing that earlier. It's taken me a long time to work out, am I moving correctly? And the other people's eyes to tell me, no, you're not, or yes, you are. So what we're going to do, and this is what we put all our patients and clients through at the start, we want you to know how you move at the start versus at the end of our training how you move once we give you the tools to move correctly. So if you don't mind, we're going to put you through what our first little test is. It's just good for you guys to see. What we do is we get the first person to come up to the water bottle. Now you've got to make, so what this is, I guess, reenacting is that the bottle's down quite low, so somebody has to bend over. We don't want the bottle to come off the box. We want the bottle to stay down there. We want you to just put the bottle cap on and then back off again, and then you can walk out of the frame, and then we're going to get everyone just to come up and do that.
And pretend that no one is watching you. You're at home, you're in your laundry, and you just got this task to do. The bottle is stuck to the box.
Okay. There's always someone who lifts the bottle up.
Let's just take it.
Yeah.
You want me to just take it off?
Yeah, take it off. Yeah.
Rather than...
You don't have to copy the person prior to Can you do that can you do yours from the other side, just so the camera picks you up?
Smile.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hope that's your best angle.
Like it.
Alright, get off screen now.
Done the dash.
That's everyone.
Perfect.
Good day.
Thank you. So our next little test is a sit to stand. So just in every day, and you do it a lot, as you know, you're always sitting down standing, whether it's at the office, at home, kitchen table, couch or car. So we have a platform here. We'll just get you to walk into the frame, so facing the beautiful educational posters just there. We'll get you just to sit down, stand up twice, and then walk out of the frame. Please. Where's the film crew?
Just say sit down, stand up twice.
Twice, please. Yeah,
Twice.
that's all right. You still passed. It's all right.
It's always lower than you think it's going to be as well.
No one's watching, remember.
We're not judging you at
No
all.
one's watching.
Just so you know, I helped make those boxes and it's been okay so far, but I don't know how long they've got left in them.
Yeah, you tell us.
That will be fun.
2 videos, every angle.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for doing that, guys. It is quite, you do feel embarrassed when you come out here, but we appreciate you guys doing that, and I think this really sets the scene for the rest of the information that we're about to provide you now. So we'll hand you back over to Dr. Dave.